Okay, let's get started. Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that's a bit beyond the scope of the course that I've provided. We're going to talk about the cash flow damming, which is a really important accelerator to the Smith Maneuver strategy that a lot of people can take advantage of, and so few people do, just because they don't realize that it can work that way. So let's dive right into it. Today we're going to talk about. Oh, I should share my screen first. First, here we go. There we go. Okay, so beyond the basics, the power of accelerators. So this is going to be one of a few different workshops that I put together where I can explain some of the accelerators that aren't necessarily covered in detail in the course. So the Smith Mover converts your mortgage into an investment loan. Accelerators speed it up, and cash flow diversion is a turbocharge button. So it's just a really important accelerator that you can use to make your mortgage convert even faster to a tax deductible expense and gain huge long-term returns from it. So it's one of my favorite accelerators here. All right. So introducing cash flow diversion, or CFD for short. So the definition, basically what it is you're rerouting your monthly surplus through your readvanceable mortgage structure. So that's a really complicated way of just saying that if you have extra cash to invest, you can reroute it through your mortgage. You can take, say you have $100, you can take your $100 and put it through your mortgage structure and borrow it again through the HELOC. Now, if you haven't watched the videos enough to know what a readvanceable HELOC is, you should definitely go through the videos and learn that. I go through in detail in the course, and it's paramount of importance for any part of the strategy. So you'll need to understand that to be able to comprehend kind of how this all works. The double play. Don't invest surplus directly. That's what most people do. They have that $100, they put it into Wealthsimple or whatever their investment platform is of choice, and get the gains from there. That's great, but you're missing out on a huge opportunity. If you route it through your mortgage first, you're getting a double benefit. You're reducing your non-tax deductible debt and changing it into tax deductible debt, and then you're getting the benefits of investing it as well. The purpose of this particular accelerator is to maximize your debt conversion speed. There's no lifestyle change whatsoever, and there's a saying that outlay. So if you're already someone that likes to contribute to your investment platform, even if you contribute to your TFSAs and RSPs, which we'll talk about a bit later, if you're already making that contribution, this is just a way to get more juice out of that squeeze, basically. You're getting more for the same exact, the mechanics, why the math works. So every time you're going to invest, and we'll keep going with this $100 example, every time you're going to invest, you're going to put it on your mortgage first. That's immediately going to reduce your bad debt. And then you're going to borrow it from the HELOC. Then you might think, okay, now I have to borrow money to invest, but that's not the case. You basically traded debt that was going to be there anyways in your mortgage for debt that's now there in your HELOC. And the debt that's in your HELOC is tax deductible. So you're swapping that debt, you're converting it. So there's no new debt. It's the same debt as you had before, just better. So you can reduce your bad debt, you convert it to your good debt, and then you invest. And it's pretty simple that way. Every $1 that's washed through the mortgage converts to $1 of non-deductible, converts $1 of non-deductible debt to $1 tax deductible debt instantly, compounding the interest savings following. So let's compare quickly cash flow damming, or cash flow diversion, sorry, versus traditional investing. So in the traditional path, we're going to switch to $500 here. You take your $500 and invest it in your platform. The $500 that could have been swapped is now still sitting in your mortgage with a 3 to 5% interest rate, or maybe higher, of after tax, non deductible debt, the worst kind of debt, the bad debt. The cash flow diversion advantage, that same $500 is invested still. You still do the same output there. Plus, you swap that $500 of bad debt and gain that $500 of tax deductible debt, which is then going to give you tax deductions, which you can feed into the system just like you would with the plain Jane, which I go over in the course. Now, you might be thinking, I prefer RSP or TFSA investing. I don't like to just invest directly. And if I put it through the Smith Maneuver, I can't do RSP and TFSA. Now, that's true. You can't do both. You can't convert your debt and have a tax deduction at the end there with one of those two systems. But I recently did a video where I put together a fake scenario for exactly this reason. I used a test dummy. I named her Sarah, and she had a mortgage, which she paid down every month. So she did the plain Jane. Plus, she had $1,000 of extra cash that she can invest every month. That's a great amount of cash, but that's what I used. In each one, I compared what would happen if she did the investing through the TFSA exclusively, through the RSP exclusively, or through Smith Maneuver with the cash flow diversion. So plain Jane and cash flow diversion. And in the video, I go through all the numbers and all the math, and it's clear that the Smith Maneuver option actually comes out way on top. And above and beyond that, if you can manage to mix and match the two, you might even unlock some additional benefits. I'm going to include the link to that video down below or in the description of this event so that you can watch it yourself. It's really interesting, and even the results surprised me. So go check that out right now. Maybe go check it out after this video. So how do you do this? How do you execute the cash flow diversion? Number one, you identify the surplus. You figure out how much you can consistently allocate to your investments each month, whether it be 100, 500, 1,000, whatever it happens to be. Step two, you make a prepayment on your mortgage principal. So you're going to take that, say $500, apply it as a prepayment to your mortgage, and then we move on to step three, and you confirm that the HELOC credit is increased. So to do these strategies, you need to have a readvanceable mortgage. So you're just going to confirm that that readvanceable mortgage is working as designed, and you actually have that room available in your HELOC. Step four, you borrow money from your HELOC. So you're going to take that $500 that's just become available in your HELOC, and you're going to borrow it right away. You're going to invest that amount into whichever platform you want, but into a non-registered account. That's really important. Not TFSA, not RRSP. And then, of course, step six, as always, is keep a clean paper trail for the CRA. And this is the same thing, just visualize a little bit better. So you can identify how much you can invest from savings, side income, tax refunds, whatever it happens to be. Prepay the mortgage. It's going to reinvest your HELOC. You borrow that money from your HELOC. You invest it into a non-tax deductible, a non-registered account, and then you document for the CRA. That's the whole thing. So what is the impact, the real world projections? So lifestyle change is quite literally zero. This is if you're already investing that $500, $100, whatever it happens to be. You're getting the same amount of money. There's no change to that whatsoever. And the tax refund loop is 100%. So whereas if you took $100 and you put it into a non-registered account directly, you get zero tax refunds. Actually, if you put it into a TFSA directly, you get zero immediate tax refunds. But now you're going to be borrowing that money and creating a larger, ever increasing tax deduction from your tax at the end of the year, which will give you tax refunds that you can then further accelerate the strategy with. The impact, build an investment portfolio. Over the course of your entire mortgage amortization, this is going to compound month over month, year over year into something that is going to be a life-changing amount of money, depending on how much you're investing, of course. But even a small amount like $50 or $100 a month can make a big impact down the road, especially when you take it into consideration that you get all those tax refunds from that same amount and you're doing the double work, the double benefit from your money. So you build a portfolio, redirect extra cash flow into long-term growth assets. Impact in the year saved. Now, if you're not interested in having huge net wealth at the end of 25 years or 30 years, you can actually use the same strategy specifically to reduce the amount of years that you have in debt on your mortgage. You can clear your mortgage much more quickly if you want. And the way you do that is exactly the same. You build up that portfolio, but when you're able to sell that portfolio amount for more than the remaining debt you have, is you do that. And so you cut your years that you owe money way, way down. Now, depending on how much you're investing each month, that's going to change dramatically. But if you do that, you can shave, in many cases, 5, 10, 15 years off of your mortgage because it does compound so quickly. So it can be a really, really good way to become debt free faster than any bank would tell you is possible. The math is simple, but the execution needs to be precise. So every person, mortgage, and situation is unique. You may have $100 to do, you may have $500 to do, you may have a varying amount of money that you need, that you can contribute each month if you have a variable income, for example, or if things come up. So it's important that you put a precise plan together, because if you just guess at it and think, I'll just do $100 a month, whatever I can, that very quickly becomes something you forget about and you don't do. And without the consistency, without the long-term dedication to the strategy, you won't get the long-term benefits that are expected. So it's really important to have a plan and make sure it's perfect for your exact situation. So ready to accelerate your wealth, book a free strategy call today. So this is what I want to provide to you. I offer a free strategy call on top of my free course. Anyone that wants to have a call with me to A, better understand all the strategies that are available to them, B, use their numbers specifically to figure out what their specific results are and determine which of these extra accelerators might be appropriate for them, and figure out how I can support them in their journey to implement this strategy, pay less taxes, increase their wealth long term. I offer that all for free as a strategy call. And then if you want to move forward with basically a done for you approach to your strategy, I'm here for you. I offer that service and I offer the support going forward for it. So it really takes a load off your shoulders in terms of making sure you're crossing every T and dotting every I. I do all that hard work for you, and you can just stay consistent and enjoy the benefits. So that's all for today. I hope that shed some light on an additional topic on top of what's available in my free course. Keep an eye out for these events in the future. I'm going to keep doing them and offer as much extra benefits and extra information as I can so that we can stop paying more in taxes than we need to, and we can start making sure we're set up well for our retirements, and we have less stress when we get there. All right. Thanks so much. See you next time.